the true capitalist radio. I'm the badass of business and the prognosticator of prognosticators. Give CIA levels of assessments, predicting the future, the future, the future. It's time for true capitalist radio. Turn that shit up. It's time for true capitalist radio. Turn that shit up. Sparking synapses in the internet underground. Everyone knows who I am. The world is my chessboard and war is the tool of the game. Don't hate me, I'm just a messenger. Say what you want about me, but I speak the truth. The truth, the truth. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. It's time for true capitalist radio. Turn that shit up. It's time for true capitalist radio. Turn that shit up. Now get ready. True capitalist radio starts now. Right now. Fucking punks. Fucking punks. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fucking punks.
What's going on, folks? And thank you for tuning in with me to another edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost, and I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. This is episode number 747, episode number 747 for all the folks that are keeping track of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before we get into anything else, I'd like to ask everybody to please spread this show across the internets and throughout the world. And let everybody you know, let them all know that the True Capitalist Radio broadcast is in effect and in the house. Once again, this is episode 747. Episode 747 for all the folks that are keeping track of the broadcast here. And you know what time it is, baby. It's True Capitalist Radio. And I hate to say, there's not much good news that I have to tell you. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode 747 on April 10th, 2025. And let's get it started right now. All right, and Devious Dave, yeah, China owns 384,000 acres of U.S. farmland. We need to take that back. Yeah, let's not get it too ahead of ourselves. And by the way, cheers to Duke Orville. Duke Orville over there in the Rumble chat, hooking it up with 10 Rumble subs, man. Cheers to you. And happy Thursday, man. Cheers to you. And Devious Dave, hashtag squat on China, whatever the hell that means. All right, folks. Look, please excuse me. I know I should have been here a little earlier. But yours truly has an IRL life. I've got a business, and I had to tend to that there for just a minute. So it is 6:06 right now, 6 minutes into the broadcast. So let's go ahead and get right into the broadcast right now. All right, let's go ahead and see what we have here. We've got the markets that we have to go over, folks. And by God, did you people actually fall for that actual Donald Trump pump and dump that we saw yesterday? And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But folks, let me tell you something. I am not in this market. I think everybody should kind of hesitate from entering in this market. This is not traditional mindset when it comes to getting into the market. Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. I forgot all about the goddamn... I'm sorry. All right. I know I'm running late and stuff. I gotta redo the damn stream alerts and... All right, man. You know, I almost want to just stop the show right now, to be honest with you, because I'm a little. You know, I've been pushing the candle at both ends. You know what I mean? To be honest, and I'm trying to do, you know, a lot of things at one time. So, you know, if you please could bear with me and stop being trolly. There's a lot of bad shit that we have to talk about out here, and fuck you, old man Frank. Anyway. Once again, folks, if you actually bought into the dead cat bounce, or I should say the Trump pump and dump, all right, I think that you made a sad mistake, because we are no longer in a rational-minded market. Now we've got the president actually initiating pump and dumps, all right? Let's take a look at what's going on in the market today, even though we saw that dramatic increase yesterday that everybody, especially on the Maga side, was tooting about. Dow Jones Industrial today is down 2.50%, closing down the Dow Jones Industrial at 39,593.66 points for the Dow Jones Industrial. We've got the S&P 500 also down today, 3.46%, closing out the S&P at 5,268.05 points for the S&P 500. We've got the NASDAQ. It is also down today, 4.31%, closing out the NASDAQ at 16,387.31 points for the NASDAQ composite. So let me tell you something, folks, all right? Not looking good, all right, in the MAGA economy. All right, and let me tell you why. I don't think that the administration knows what it's doing. I don't think that it really thought out this extensive economic policy of tariffing everybody. And I'll be honest with you, folks, it's not looking good for America right now. It's not looking good. It's completely erratic. It's almost as if I really don't even know what to tell you. I can't even explain to you why we're seeing this today. What was the difference between yesterday's trading session and today, outside of Trump saying, hey, it's a good time to buy? I mean, that's why if you go to Ghost.Report, which is the official website of this broadcast, you take a look at the headline, buy when I tell you to buy. Trump's pump and dump market bounce. And let's be honest with you, what really made him change his mind on the tariffs? Even though he rolled them out on supposed Liberation Day, what exactly made him reverse? Well, let's be honest, folks, okay? It wasn't the stock market, because it seems as if the administration didn't give a shit, let alone their surrogates, you know, all the talking heads, you know, the MAGA chattering class. They were trying to tell everybody, hey, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. But as a result, folks, let me give you the exact reason why this pivot with Trump's tariffs really happened. It wasn't the stock market. It was the treasury market. It was the bonds, particularly, folks, Japan, as you can see right here. Did Japan dumping U.S. bonds force Trump's tariff pivot? Absolutely it did. Absolutely it did. Why did Trump blink on the tariffs with a 90-day pause? The inside story of how bond market fire sales spooked the president of the United States. Now, let me explain what really happened and why Trump pivoted completely, did a complete 180 on the supposed tariffs that he was supposedly going to be steadfast on. Now, what happened, folks, is it wasn't necessarily China dumping bonds. And for all those that don't know, bonds is basically the United States selling debt. And we need people to buy this debt in order for the United States to continue to sustain itself and to continue to pursue whatever it is that the government wants to pursue. You know, you got this very zealous, big, beautiful bill that the administration wants to pass through Congress. How the hell are they going to pay for that? Well, they got to pay for it through getting debt. Now, I know many people are asking, well, who gives a shit if Japan and China sells our debt? Look, folks, all right, Japan is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, debt holder of the United States of America. And because Trump, for whatever reason, decided to put, I don't know, what was it, a 37 or 47% tariff on Japan, they decided that, well, if the Americans are going to treat us this way, let's go ahead and start fire sale and dumping treasuries. And as a result, what happened is the treasury yield, the percentage that needs to be paid to those that are holding the treasury, spiked dramatically. All right, the bond yield it spiked dramatically. Now, what does that mean? That means that if the government is going to take out more debt, they're going to have to pay a higher interest rate on that debt because less people want to purchase the debt. All right, less people want to purchase the debt, especially when you've got the Japanese, which is one of the biggest debt holders of the United States, selling bonds. This causes a problem for the president. Because remember, like I said, the president, even though he's claiming that he wants to cut government spending and he wants to balance the budget, he's got Congress right now, all right, trying to craft a, quote, big, beautiful bill. All right, and that's on the current edition of Ghost Report. If you go down here, House Senate a standoff over a big, beautiful bill. Now, what is this big, beautiful bill? The Senate and the House are in a standoff on how much they're going to allow the president to have this fiscal year and how they're going to pay for it. The House, of course, is proposing that they're going to have to cut Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security in order to pay for this big, beautiful bill. Now, the irony of this is that you've got Doge. Remember, the president and Elon Musk were selling us that Doge was needed in order to cut dramatically from the government in order for, to balance the budget. How the fuck are you going to balance the budget when you're asking $4 to $5 trillion in this big, beautiful bill? All right? $4 to $5 trillion is what the Congress is asking, and is what Trump is asking the Congress to give him. And on top of $4 or $5 trillion, he wants an unlimited debt ceiling. He doesn't want to have to do this stopgap bill bullshit that they've been doing since Obama. He wants a unlimited debt ceiling. So this is why I'm telling you, folks, a lot of the things that this administration is saying that it wants is completely deceptive. You cannot balance a budget. You can't sell to the American people that Doge is coming in order to cut from the fat of the American government in order to balance the budget when you're asking Congress for an extra $4 to $5 trillion for this year alone, and then you want Congress to give you an unlimited debt ceiling. All right, so this is where we're at, and that's why the president, even though he claimed that he was going to continue these tariffs and that there was no negotiation and all this bullshit, all right, on April 9th, if you take a look at Ghost Report, to tariff or not to tariff, Trump changes his mind on tariffs again. And, of course, the White House narrative was that it's the media's fault. It's the media's fault. Of course, what else is Trump going to say? All right, he didn't go into this policy understanding the true ramifications of what could potentially happen. All right, and because he wants to up the debt ceiling to have it an unlimited debt ceiling, and he wants to have $4 or $5 trillion in spending in this big, beautiful bill, he can't afford to have the damn Treasury spike in interest because he's not going to be able to afford these goddamn ambitious plans that he wants the Congress to pass in this big, beautiful bill. All right? So once again, the U-turn when it comes to the tariff had everything to do with the Treasury market and that Japan massively dumping bonds, causing the spike in interest to yield, which would cause the government to, it would cost more to borrow because nobody wants to buy our debt. So that's why he pivoted. And as a result, folks, in my personal opinion, it makes us look weak. It makes us look indecisive. The whole process in which Trump decided to assert these fucking tariffs was wrong to begin with. I'm all okay with China being hit with tariffs, but then to just come out right off the bat, right after you're elected, come out swinging and saying, I want a blanket tariffs, I'm going to tariff everybody. I mean, we are now the pariah of the world. The United States is the pariah of the world, and I don't think our allies would come to our aid if, God forbid, somebody like China hit us up. All right, I'm just saying. And Devious Dave, it's almost as if everything is fake and retarded. That's great. Bevden, to each their own political views, but the argument that Trump doesn't know what he's doing is ridiculous. How the fuck is that ridiculous? It doesn't make any sense why he came out guns blazing and making the United States the pariah of the world. And if you're going to go with these tariffs, well, then stick with them. Now, there is speculation that these tariffs actually came from AI, believe it or not. I'm not kidding. I mean, there is speculation that it came from AI, and I think that if that's the case, then that's a testament to what this administration is doing. All right, take a look at this. This is on the Ghost Report, April 4th edition. All right, Trump caught using AI for weird tariff calculations? Of course he did, because none of these tariffs make any kind of sense. All right, Trump's new tariff math looks a lot like ChatGPT. Of course it does, because it doesn't make any sense. As I stated on the last broadcast, right? What is the motive of these tariffs? You get every kind of explanation on what these tariffs are or why they're even implemented. You get, oh, it's about the fentanyl. Oh, it's about the imbalanced trade. Oh, it's about balancing the budget. Oh, it's about bringing manufacturing back to America. You don't have a clear message on why these fucking tariffs were asserted anyway. And if they truly believed in these tariffs, they would have kept them going. They wouldn't have pivoted so shortly, in which, look, this was obviously a cleanup job because, folks, they paused the tariffs for 90 days and then they doubled them on China. You want to know why they doubled them on China? Because China made Trump look like an idiot. All right? That's why. All right? It made Trump look like an idiot. All right? And that's why Trump decided that he's going to double down and he's going to do this for the Chinese. Look at this. Hits China with a 125% tariff. Now, what's unfortunate about this, folks, is I'm all for tariffing China. We should have done this initially. If Trump would have came out and said, look, we're tariffing China right off the bat, and let this be a warning to all the trading partners out there that we want to renegotiate trade deals, and we're going to bilaterally renegotiate trade deals, and tariffs are on the table. That would have been a hell of a lot better of an approach to what we're seeing here than to what Trump has done and making America the pariah of the world. It's a disgrace. It's absolutely a disgrace. And what is this, trolling the interweb? In case anyone was wondering, Big Beautiful Bill is Ghost's boyfriend. Yeah, thanks a lot. All right, anyway, I'm just trying to let everybody know that we're not in a good situation here. I mean, if Trump really wanted to use these tariffs effectively, he should have went after our enemies. And if they wanted to go into a bilateral trade agreement to renegotiate other trade deals, he could have done all this in private. Instead, he wanted to litigate this, which is what J.D. Vance was accusing Zelensky of doing in that infamous Oval Office meeting. All right, litigating this in the American public. And that's what Trump is doing with these damn tariffs. He's litigating these tariffs in the international community's perspective and purview. And on the contrary, instead of it being effective, instead of actually having some effect on with these tariffs, he has galvanized the world. He has galvanized the world into a nationalistic spirit. I mean, prior to Trump coming into office, Canada hated their government. They couldn't stand Justin Trudeau. I mean, and guess what? They now all love Canada. Canada's all about buying Canada. They're pulling off any kind of American products off their shelves. They're not buying American. I mean, the same thing goes for every country. The EU, the China especially. I mean, this is not a positive way of making America great again at all. At all. And anybody who thinks that this is a good idea, I'd like for you to explain me how this is a good idea. You can't. You can't tell me this is a good idea. And let me get to some Buy Me a Coffees. Colada orange juice looking good here. Thank you very much, Colada. I mean, well, it's dropping dramatically. Let's put it that way, all right? And we got Kirk Johnson. All those mass deportations MAGA cucks voted for still aren't happening unless their name is, I'm not saying that, all right? Fell for it again award. And hold on, what the hell is this? What is this there, Kirk Johnson? And MAGA fell for it again award is all, that happens all the time. All right, let me take a listen to what this is. All right, this is pertinent to the show. Thank you, Kirk Johnson. Take a listen to this. This is courtesy of Kirk Johnson. President Trump says he will grant a reprieve from deportation to illegal immigrants working on farms, in hotels, and in other places where they need people. Didn't I say that on the last show, that Trump was pivoting on the border and that he wanted to open borders? Remember he said that on the last show? I said it. Here he is validating it. Here you go. All of you MAGA people are idiots. Play this shit.
So they can lay on it as well.
And we're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way and go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right?
A chance to come back.
So it gives you a real incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. We're also going to work with farmers that if they have strong recommendations for their farms for certain people, we're going to let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back. And
well, you know what, Trump? I actually agree with Trump on this. And you know what? I knew that Trump would pivot on this. All this deportation shit. I mean, give me a break. You think that you're going to bring back manufacturing with the kind of fucking work ethic that America has? I mean, these fucking kids don't even want to do shit. So Trump, once again, all right, going back on what all you idiots went out there and voted him for, which was immigration. I told you that he would have to pivot on this. And by the way, I'm glad you pivot on this, Trump, because Trump realizes the American public, the general American public. I know there's some hardworking American people out there, don't get me wrong, and I hate to group you in with these other American assholes, but a group is defined by its majority. And let's be honest, most American people are ungrateful. They feel entitled. They think they deserve shit, even though they've contributed nothing to this country, even though most of them are a detriment to this country. And to be honest with you, I think it's sad, all right, that Trump actually sold you morons into believing that he was going to be able to deport these people. Let me tell you why he's not deporting them. Let me tell you why he's not deporting them. Because, folks, the American public's work ethic is a bunch of shit. And he realizes that the American public not only are not going to go out there and get manufacturing jobs because they're a bunch of fucking entitled pieces of crap, they're not going to go out there and work in the farms. They're not going to tend to the livestock. They're not going to harvest the agriculture. They're not going to do this kind of crap. So now Trump realizes that he can't be this zealot deportation anti-immigrant because he will detriment his fucking economy on top of the tariffs that he put on the country. And moreover, Trump, I believe, understands that the only way that you're going to keep America alive, the only way that you're going to save America is if you replace American people. And I hate to say that, folks. I know that many of you are like, fuck you, Ghost, you fucking piece of shit. Hey, even Trump, even under this make America great again, deport illegals, we're going to bring back manufacturing in America, even he understands that you're not going to get it done with these American pieces of shit. All right? You're not going to get it done when you've got people, and let me show you something, all right? Let me look at the Ghost Stop Report, totally useless news area of today, all right? When you've got people, all right, whenever the American public knows that there's economic turbulence ahead, when you've got people buying KFC fried chicken toothpaste. I'm not joking. I hate to jump to totally useless news, but take a look at this. Look. KFC introduces fried chicken toothpaste, and it's sold out. It's sold out. Okay? So when you've got the American public spending money on dumb tchotchke bullshit like this, all right, that's a testament on where we're at mentally when it comes to the American public. This kind of ridiculous tchotchke type of fucking spending, especially right now when we've got economic uncertainty, goes to show you the level of entitlement that American people have. They believe that things are just going to go the way they're supposed to go regardless. And that's not the case. All right, that is absolutely not the fucking case. All right, and this is where we're at this fucking point in time. We are at a point in which people don't understand that the only reason that America is because people are working. People are paying taxes. People are willing to put their lives on the line in order to preserve the integrity of this country. And let me tell you, Trump also knows that the only semblance, in my opinion, of masculinity that's left, I know there's a few badass Americans, but badass Americans and hardworking Americans are an endangered species. They're an endangered fucking species. You don't see them very much anymore. All right? I mean, that's why Trump realizes not only are most of these folks that are illegals are the backbone of general hard labor, but God forbid that we have to go to a war and we've got to conscript these people. We've got to conscript the general public. You think that you're going to be able to conscript all these folks that are obsessed with gaming and anime and cartoons and being a man-child? And I mean, you're not. All right, you're not. So as I stated, folks, this is why Trump, let's play this again, all right? Play this again. Trump, once again, pivoting on immigration. I knew he would do this. You know what? I knew he would do this. He was not. I told you. Play it.
So they can lay on it as well.
And we're going to work with people so that if they go out in a nice way and go back to their country, we're going to work with them right from the beginning on trying to get them back in legally. Is that right?
They're
So
eating the
give you a
cat.
incentive. Otherwise, they never come back. They'll never be allowed once a certain period of time goes by, which is probably going to be 60 days. We're also going to work with farmers that if they have strong recommendations for their farms for certain people, we're going to let them stay in for a while and work with the farmers and then come back and go through a process, a legal process. But we have to take care of our farmers and hotels and various places where they need the people. And we're going to be working with you very carefully on that. So a farmer will come in with a letter concerning certain people saying they're great, they're working hard. We're going to slow it down a little bit for them. And then we're going to ultimately bring them back. They'll go out, they're going to come back as...
this is double speak, all right? This is what I said Trump should have done initially. I said, look, I understand that you want to clean up the country from some of this riffraff, from some of the MS-13 and the, Trade de Agua, Panocha, or whatever the fuck it's called. I mean, I get it, but you can't just take out the last hard labor general working class that we have in this country, and you can't think that you have this cockamamie idea that Americans are going to be the ones that take the jobs of the folks that are out there tending to the livestock, harvesting the agriculture. It's a disgrace, all right? So, hey, all of you MAGA people, all right, you want me to say something positive about Trump? There you go. All right, Trump, attaboy. All right, the only way we could save this country is if we replace most of these fucking ungrateful, entitled people. And you want to know what I'm talking about when it comes to these entitled people? I'm talking about the over 57% of you that are collecting government entitlements, that are a complete detriment to this country, and that are a fucking burden on the taxpayer. All right? I'm talking about you fucking people. I don't give a shit what race you are. I don't give a shit what your culture is, your nationality is. You people that collect entitlements are a burden on this country. All right? And we need people that love this country. We need people that love the Constitution. And I tell you this right now, the immigrants that are getting this reprieve from Trump are going to love this country. They're going to want to go out and fight for this country if this country was threatened. All right? You fucking idiot, enemy-loving, game-playing, man-child morons are trying to teach each other that if there was a draft, all you got to do is pee-pee, poo-poo on yourselves, and you're not going to get drafted. That's how much of a fucking gutless piece of shit entitlement coward you fucking American people are. And that's why I will say, and I will continue to say, that the only way that we're going to save this country is if we replace the American people with people that love the Constitution, that people that love freedom, people that want to preserve the opportunity that America accords. That's what we have to do, all right? And any American that disagrees with me, you're an entitled piece of shit. You're a fucking loser, all right? You want everything handed to you on a silver platter without contributing anything to this country, all right? So bravo to Trump, all right? Bravo to Trump for going out there and realizing that, yeah, I can't do this with these American assholes. I can't do it. I got to bring in the Mexicans. Hey, farmers, just tell me the good Mexicans. I won't deport them. All right, tell me the good Mexicans. I won't deport them. If anything, I'll bring them some chimichangas or some shit. My God, prognosticator or prognostic. You know what, Kirk Johnson, thank you for hooking that up. I'm sure that sticks in the craw of all these goddamn MAGA people that were out there saying, yeah, deport them. Look at you idiots now. You people have so much egg on your face. Are you going to continue to back up this piece of crap? I mean, how much more egg do you have to have? No pun intended, by the way. Eggs at all-time highs, by the way. How much egg are you going to have on your face before you recognize that you done goofed and that, maybe, just maybe, you don't know shit about politics and that everything that goes said in 2024, and I challenge you to go look back in that goddamn archive, whether it's on YouTube or Rumble, I told you that all this shit was going to happen. All right? I told you all this shit was going to happen. Oh, my God. He who laughs last laughs loudest, baby. And I'm feeling good, baby. I'm feeling good. Anyway, let me take another buy me a coffee here. We got Meadow Ray. China doesn't stand a chance attacking here in Tennessee. If one of those Chinese motherfuckers lands an inch near my building, I'm turning them into chicken fried rice. Yeah, real easy to say in the back of the might of the American government and the American military. All right? You're saying that because you think that'll never be a possibility. I wouldn't think so much anymore. I'll be honest with you. Trump has left us so vulnerable. I think that we're vulnerable for an attack, and there's nothing we can do about it, if you want my opinion. But anyway, thank you, Meadow Ray. We've got Mark who hooked it up with a buy me a coffee, and Mark said, I agree with you. I'm 32 years old. I have a long life to live, and I am uncertain about the future of the country. Well, you know what, Mark? I'm glad that you, a 32-year-old, are concerned with the country because that's what this country is lacking. And I know I just criticized the American people, and I know I said that we need to save America by replacing Americans. And the reason I say that is because the American people don't give a shit about the Constitution anymore. The American people don't give a shit about being an appropriate participant in the political system, being well-informed and understanding that, hey, I need to vote for somebody that's going to benefit my general interest, the general public's general interest, my children's general interest. But no, I don't know what people are voting for anymore. I don't get it. I just want to let y'all know that everything that is happening now is what I predicted. And what did I tell you on election day, or the day after election day? I said, when you're suffering, I want you to think of ghosts, baby. All right? When you're suffering, I want you to think of ghost. Anyway, let's get back to the markets here, all right? As we can see, gold is up. All right, it is up 0.92%. Gold right now is at $3,206.60 per troy ounce of gold. And by God, have you seen oil? Oil is at $60, $59. It's teetering at that. Hopefully that translates into cheaper gas prices because we're certainly going to need it. Remember, I talked about it on the past several Go shows that Trump, he's going to make his first international trip to Saudi Arabia, and that's to assure, or at least make a deal with the Saudi Arabians to overproduce oil. And they're doing it now. That's why we're seeing the cost of oil go down. I told you this was going to happen. And the reason Trump needs the Saudis to overproduce oil is so that if, and they're going to be, there's no if, when the prices rise on everything because of these tariffs, he hopes it would be offset by the cheap gas prices at the pump. And I think that's wishful thinking, if you want my opinion, but I get where he's going. All right? Anyway, with that being said, let's take a look at commodities here since, we're in this new trade war with everybody. Let's take a look at how the commodities are doing, because from now on, I think everybody should be monitoring the price of commodities. Because I think for the short term, as I stated, because the Chinese and other folks, because they're pissed off about the Trump tariffs, they are canceling contracts with folks that export to their countries from America. And the majority of the folks that export from America to other countries are the farmers. And that's why Trump has pivoted on the farmers specifically, because they're the ones that are going to be hit. As a matter of fact, I said on Ghost.Report, on yesterday's Ghost.Report, that the government is actually entertaining, all right, once again, Ghost.Report, April 9th, they're actually entertaining a bailout for the farmers. Take a look at this. U.S. considers farmer bailout because of tariffs. All right? So this is how desperate Trump has gotten, and this is why this dramatic pivot on tariffs. And let me tell you, all you MAGA chattering class that were out there flapping your gator about, oh, the tariffs are great. Don't worry. Don't worry if you lost money. You technically didn't lose money because it's your 401k. You haven't cashed it out, or whatever the fuck you fucking idiots were saying. You people have egg on your face, and I'm glad to see the MAGA chattering class fall apart in its own stupidity, in its own propaganda. So, folks, in essence, okay, what Trump is doing, tariffs, and then pivoting, bailouts for farmers, telling the auto worker or the automobile industry not to raise their prices. I mean, this is MAGA communism. Remember I talked about that in 2024, that a lot of what Trump was talking about seems a lot like communism? Well, that's exactly what it is. And, just to prove that the United States has gone communist, did you see what the Communications Bureau of the Communist Government of China put out? I actually tweeted this, and I think it's unbelievable that we're living in a day and age where the Communist Government of China, I'm not joking around, the Communist Government of China is actually quoting Ronald Reagan in order to show the opposition to America. I'm not fucking joking around. I think people should at least take a little bit of a refreshing what the fuck view on what I'm about to show you here, okay? Put the PC shot on. Here is my official X account, The Ghost Report, all one word, no underscores, The Ghost Report. And I'm going to show you this tweet I put out right here. Here it is right here. And I said, imagine the Communist Government of China quoting one of the most anti-communist presidents, Ronald Reagan. What does that say about the America's government today? And what did look at this. This is Mao Ning. If you look at Mao Ning, spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China. All right. They put this out and said, more from Ronald Reagan on tariffs, a lesson some still ignore at their own peril. Let's listen to what Ronald Reagan said, and the fact that the Communist Government of China is quoting him against our country. Where are we at this fucking point? Play it.
Over the past 200 years, not only has the argument against tariffs and trade barriers won nearly universal agreement among economists, but it has also proven itself in the real world, where we have seen free trading nations prosper while protectionist countries fall behind. America's most recent experiment with protectionism was a disaster for the working men and women of this country. When Congress passed the Smoot-Hawley Tariff in 1930, we were told that it would protect America from foreign competition and save jobs in this country. The same line we hear today. The actual result was the Great Depression, the worst economic catastrophe in our history. 1 out of 4 Americans were thrown out of work. Yet today, protectionism is being used by some American politicians as a cheap form of nationalism. We should beware of the demagogues who are ready to declare a trade war against our friends, weakening our economy, our national security, and the entire free world.
There it is. Ronald Reagan being quoted by the Communist government of China against our own country. Against our own country. Where is our government right now when we have the Communist government of China quoting an anti-communist? And if you read into Ronald Reagan, he was a lifelong anti-communist. And the fact that you've got the Communist government of China using Ronald Reagan against us, I think is just fucking ironic. And if you can't see the irony in it, then you're already fucking infatuated with the propaganda. Unbelievable. Anyway, put the PC shot on. All right, once again, as you can see, massive red in the commodities of energy. And it's because we have a drill baby drill administration in charge, which I don't disagree with that. And because we've got, obviously, an arrangement with Trump and the Saudis to overproduce in order to bring down gas prices in order to help this very not thought out policy of economics by Trump. Although you take a look at the metals here, I mean, as I stated, folks, in uncertain times, all right, people either save cash, which is why I've been trying to tell people ever since March of 2022. When the Federal Reserve first started raising rates, I said to save cash, save cash, save cash. And let me tell you, most of my portfolio, even since then, even though I've dabbled in some, pattern or swing trades, it's all been in cash. And let me tell you, people who have large cash reserves are about to be generously rewarded because they're not the ones losing money while all these morons are buying into these ridiculous pump and dumps by the president. And I mean, this is not a market that you want to get into on the short term. If you want to get into this market, it's a long-term investment. Don't even think about pattern or short-term trading at this point. The uncertainty will lose you fucking money. All right, but anyway, when all's said and done, all right, in economic uncertainty, people always go to gold and silver. And that's exactly what's going on right now. As if you have cash portfolio and you want to put your money in something that could potentially continue to rise in the next several years, I think gold and silver are a safe bet. As you can see, many of the investors are going there. All right, gold right now, we just said the price, it was up a little above 3,200. It is now slipping. It's at 31.88. Look at silver. It is at $31.16 per troy ounce. And I still think these prices are decent. Could it dip a little bit more? Sure. But I think that if you're making money and you want to save and you want to put something else, you want to put the savings into something else, gold and silver in a value investing strategy. For instance, every month that you're saving and you want to put some into gold and silver, sometimes you'll buy silver on higher prices, sometimes you'll buy them in lower prices. But if you're value investing, when they finally shoot up, because the last time in 2009, which was our last recession, we saw silver go up as high as $60. I think we're doubling that or getting close to double that this next time. I see silver at $100 a troy ounce. Take a look at gold, for fuck's sake. All right, I'm just saying. Anyway, look at all the increase in metals. Everybody is going to metals for the uncertainty. Now let's go to the agriculture. Now, what did I tell you? Even last year, I said if Trump does these tariffs, that the first thing that these countries are going to do is cancel the contracts with our agrarian and livestock producers. And that it will initially cause a dramatic decrease in prices in commodities, which Trump is going to take a victory lap for. But now Trump realizes that if he doesn't incentivize these fucking farmers, he could potentially have less yields of everything next year because the farmers have no incentive to produce as much as they produce because their contracts got canceled by China. So right now, we're seeing a decrease in agriculture. But believe you me, next year, this is not going to be the case. Mark my words. I'm going to continue to repeat this throughout this whole time. Next year, the high prices that we saw in agriculture and livestock, they're going to meet that and exceed that. And that's why Trump is trying to say, all right, farmers, I'm not going to deport your Mexicans that are out there. I'm gonna potentially bail you out. So here we go. All right. Anyway, you take a look at this. This is the green for today alone. All right. Soybeans up 1.60% on the day. Palm oil up 1.33%. Rubber is up 4.88%. Believe it or not, most of the rubber tree, I believe, is in Asia. And, for whatever reason, Trump is heavily tariffing those folks. Well, it's a pause now, but whatever. Anyway, orange juice is up 1.78% on the day, even though if you take a look at the year to date, it is down 46.88%. Pretty cheap right now, if you know what I mean. Coffee is down 2.80%, and that's because a lot of less people are consuming coffee. It's a sign of the times. I mean, coffee, especially if you're not, getting the off-the-shelf grocery brand, it's an expensive habit. So, of course, people are cutting back on that. We got rice down 2.36%. That's because the Japanese have tapped into their rice silos in order to keep prices down in Japan, which has offset the market, which is why you're seeing the decrease here. We got oats up 3.18%. That has a lot to do with, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not an oats guy. 1.04% for wool. Sugar is up 1.24%. Cacao is continuing to go down. It is down 2.90%. That is the base for chocolate. We talked about the Ivory Coast situation. That's where most of the cacao is made. And corn is up 1.69%. Now let's get to the livestock. Now we're finally starting to see some decreases in livestock. Because let me tell you, these livestock prices, if you've been to the grocery store, just don't seem to go down. They don't seem to go down. And I hope that because some of these contracts were canceled, that we will start seeing some cheaper fucking beef prices, for heaven's sake, even though I'm still paying for it. Anyway, cattle feeder is down 0.50% on the day. Live cattle is down 1.15% on the day. Lean hog is down 1.12% on the day. The general beef price is still up, though. 0.56% increase on the day for general beef and eggs. Now, this is a very interesting situation. If you take a look at the Associated Press today, they have an article that states that eggs are at an all-time high. Now, this is very interesting. If eggs are at an all-time high, how come the wholesale is down? All right, how come the wholesale is down? Because, folks, everybody is pricing in for the tariffs. I don't know if you've been looking at your latest Amazon purchases or if you've been browsing Amazon, but if you take a look at something about 2 weeks ago, if you had it in your watch list, and you take a look at it now, it's going to be about 60% plus more. You know that? And that's why everybody is pricing, even if they had it before the tariff, they're going to price accordingly. So if you see high egg prices, it's certainly not at the wholesale end. Just saying. Anyway, folks, that concludes the market portion of the broadcast here. Let's go a little over crypto. As I've stated, folks, I think people need to just forget about crypto, dude. Forget about crypto. Trump ruined it for everybody. Put the PC shot on. All right. First of all, let's be honest. All right. We're headed into economic uncertain times. What's the first thing people are going to liquidate in order to maintain their sustenance, in order to pay their mortgage, in order to pay this digital crap? All right? At least they know if they hold gold and silver, even if they don't get the monetary value of the silver or gold, they can trade silver or gold for things that they need in order to maintain sustenance of their life. This digital crap is not something that people are going to hold on to whenever economic uncertainty is arise. All right? They're not going to hold on to this crap. So if you have not cashed out in this fucking cryptocurrency market, then I don't know what the fuck to tell you. All right? I have no idea what to tell you, but it's over. All right? The idea of like, hey, I got a crypto and look, I got fucking rich, that shit's over, man. All right? It's over. It's gone. And to be honest with you, I think Trump fucked it up for everybody. All right, because of the damn Trump coin. And speaking of which, I mean, once again, put the PC shot back on. This is why I'm saying in today's Ghost Report, Trump's pump and dump market bounce. All right, because what did he say? All right, he says, buy now call. Remember, he put that on his Truth Social. He put it on his Truth Social and said, this is a great time to buy. All right, and then right after he said that, the fucking market went up 9 or 10%. Of course, it's down 5 and change percent now. But, you know, what's very interesting is that it seems as if those that were within the MAGA inner circle got the call in order to buy before this buy call by Trump. And that's why this graphic, buy when I tell you to buy. Take a look at this on Ghost Report. MAGA insiders bought before Trump's buy call? Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, this is very dangerous, okay, to our markets, to our economy. The fact that we've got the president pumping and dumping in order to pay off folks to continue to maintain their loyalty to him, because that's how he's got these, quote, loyalists. He's paying them. In my opinion, I think that's what that whole Trump coin bullshit was before he got inaugurated. He was able to rug pull, what was it, $30, $40 billion? Where the hell did all that go? If anybody does, I don't know, like a CoffeeZilla or somebody, if they were to do an investigation, what they would find is that Trump coin, in my opinion, went into the fucking pockets of everybody who was going to be a loyalist to Trump. And if you want my opinion, this is exactly what happened with this Trump buy call yesterday, because, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene conveniently bought a bunch of, financial instruments and generated a generous profit. There's a bunch of folks that are named in this article that were part of the MAGA inner circle that obviously, in my opinion, got the damn buy call before Trump put it out for the public. And this is dangerous, in my opinion. I mean, this is dangerous to our economy. This is dangerous to our markets. I mean, it kind of undermines the integrity of our markets. And, I mean, this is not good. And I want to remind every one of you, no matter what these MAGA chattering class idiots tell you, all right, the stock market is important to everybody because the majority of people's retirements are tied to the stock market. All right, the majority of the people's retirements are tied to the stock market, and if it collapses, I mean, that's it for everybody's retirement dreams, all right? Or at least for the next 10 to 15 years, and that's exactly where this is headed. This is why I even said last year that if Trump does what he does, that we're going to see not only a depression in America, that we're going to see a global depression, and we're already headed into that. We're already headed into that, for Christ's sake. I mean, everybody's saying it. I mean, I said it on the last show. That's why you've got Elon Musk kind of singing a different tune when it comes to these tariffs. All right, put the PC shot on. This is yesterday's April 9th Ghost Report Daily. Take a look at this. Elon's brother trashes Trump's tariffs. Take a look at this. Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, slams Trump's tariffs as permanent tax on the American consumer, because that's what it is, folks. Okay? That's what it is. The corporations aren't paying for this. The corporations aren't paying for the tariff and calling it a mulligan. They're going to put it on you and then tack on a couple of more percentage points to profit even more. All right, this is not something that's going to end well for America. That's why I'm telling each and every one of you, you all better get recalibrated to your materialistic needs, because you ain't going to be as material as you used to be. You people getting phones, new phones every quarter, that shit ain't going to happen anymore. All right, you people getting cheap clothes, cheap furniture, that shit ain't happening. It's over. The days of cheap goods are over. And I hope that you bought everything that you need, because you ain't going to be able to buy it for the prices you used to be able to buy it before. I'll tell you that right goddamn now. All right? So once again, aside from the opposition, you know, we talked about how Bill Ackman last show, a billionaire who was a supporter of Trump, he's talking in opposition of the tariffs. You've got a lot of billionaires out there that were down with Trump during the damn campaign that are now turning their back. You got Jamie Dimon coming out saying that we're going to head into recession. All right, you got Larry Fink, the guy that's in charge of BlackRock, saying the same damn thing. And to be honest with you, folks, it's really policy. And what is the policy? It is this guy, Pete Navarro. All right, the head of or I should say the most important financial advisor or economic advisor of Trump. Harvard graduate.
They're eating the
He
cats.
was the guy. Let's just be honest. Pete Navarro was the guy who went to jail for Trump. So, I mean, Pete Navarro kind of, he kind of has a little bit more credibility, in my opinion, as being a loyalist. And that's why Trump, in my view, is going with whatever the hell Pete Navarro is, because that's where all this Trump tariff shit is. It's Pete Navarro's idea. And that's why Elon Musk is coming out and being in opposition to this and calling Pete Navarro a moron. I mean, there's been a war of words between Navarro and Musk, and it's because the opposition to what the hell's going on here. Anyway, let me get to some Buy Me a Coffees here. Jackson Battle. Hey, Ghost, why haven't you put the old logo on a shirt or a pint glass in your merch shop? All right, well, maybe I will, man. Congrats on the award. All right, I don't know what award you're talking about, but thank you very much. Cheers to you. And, Kamala Harris, it's okay. I'll either buy American or from a non-tariff country. Well, good luck with that. You still gotta pay a shipping charge. Anyway, this is where we're at, folks. I mean, MAGA is splitting. I think MAGA is maybe turning on Trump. Of course, they put Ben Shapiro. I don't know if we should really encompass him as MAGA, but he was a big mouthpiece, and all the folks that are a part of his, what is it, the Daily Caller, Daily Mail, whatever the fuck his fucking organization is, they were all surrogates to Trump, and now they're not liking what the hell's going on here, all right? And it's not just Ben Shapiro. It's also the rest of the MAGA chattering class. They're turning on each other. I mean, I saw that stupid, fat, walrus-looking piece of shit, the Quartering, turning on that old prostate-infected piece of crap cat turd, all right? They're turning on each other. They're turning on each other, and the reason is because the grift is up. The grift is up. And let me tell you why. All the folks that were out there during the 2024 campaign saying MAGA, MAGA, and getting all this money from MAGA supporters, the MAGA supporters that supported these idiots, like the Quartering, like this moron, like all the other chattering class, they realized that they done goofed. They realized that they were misled. They realize now that all the shit that these morons were propagating was an absolute lie. And that's why you're seeing a backlash in the MAGA chattering class. And that's why we're seeing these folks getting desperate. They're starting to... Did you hear Tim Pool? Tim Pool now realizes that he's not going to be able to make the money he did during the 2024 MAGA campaign. So now Tim Pool is siding with the black kid that killed that one white kid over a fucking seat at a track meet or some shit. I'm not kidding. You're going to see a lot of this from these people, and don't believe them. All right, the Tim Pools, the fucking Crowders, all these people that made a fortune, fucking the Quartering, fucking Styx Hexon-Hammer, all these pieces of crap. All these people that made lots of money during the MAGA 2024 campaign, you're going to start seeing them changing their tune really fast. And don't you believe them, because they're the ones that aided in propagating this crap. So I'm just saying, man, all right? I'm just saying. And Bevden, D to dodge the draft. You see, look at this. Look at this. Pookie from 713, I'm dodging the draft. Look at this shit. Huh? Trolling the interwebs, true CCP radio. What are you talking about, man? I have been against China. I'm just simply stating that now we're here with our prick in our hands. If China wanted to hit up the United States right now, we're at the most vulnerable time as ever. The most vulnerable time as ever. I mean, we're being gutted from the inside out with this supposed Doge bullshit and all this cutting and laying off. We're being, as a matter of fact, did you know that we're cutting out here from defense? I'm not joking around. We're cutting from defense. Let me go to this, where was it? This one right here. We're cutting from defense. How the hell are we doing this when we've got Trump trying to use the American might against the world? Take a look at this. Trump signs executive order to cancel Department of Defense programs. Take a look at this. Trump directs Pentagon to tee up major acquisition programs for potential cancellation. So I don't understand what the fuck Trump's doing. I mean, if you're going to muscle up against the world, then you want to have a badass fucking defense, right? You want to have a badass DOD. You want to have a bunch of goddamn soldiers ready just in case these fuckers get uppity. Unbelievable. And trolling the intro, the only grifter is Dennis Prager's circle that's worth the shit is Larry Elder. Well, great. Thank you, trolling the interwebs. But once again, you know, we're cutting defense, we're being gutted, and yet you've got Trump out here trying to chest up to the world. I mean, what are we going to fight with? I mean, listen, you all know that the youth of America are a bunch of fruit bowl, femboy, man-children, cosplaying, enemy-loving, effeminate fruits. If we had to conscript a fucking military right now, this is the fucking pool that we would be working with. And then we've got Trump trying to cut the budget, for Christ's sake. What the fuck is this shit? Unbelievable. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. And speaking of cuts that are coming up, since we're on the cutting conversation, Trump is also going to put a, quote, major tariff on pharmaceuticals. All right, because believe it or not, many of the pharmaceuticals that you folks are addicted to are actually made somewhere else, probably China. I think that you folks that are dependent on pharmaceuticals, which I don't know why you are, but you folks that are dependent on them, you need to make sure that your damn pharmaceutical isn't made in China. Because if it is, well, that shit's going to go up to at least 134% minimum, and that goes for everybody else. Look at that, Trump. Major tariff coming soon. That's on top of the 134% on China. So here we are, man. I mean, how does this help the American people? How does all this shit really? Can somebody explain this shit to me? And Froppy, please, I'm not going to say the rest of this. Someone is going to win this game of chicken with Trump. And I just hope he doesn't go nuclear. Thanks for the show, Ghost. Also, Roxass is kind of cute. Oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, the thing about all this indecision and erratic bullshit that Trump is doing, it's showing that there's cracks in his walls of power. Cracks in his walls of power. I mean, as much as he was trying to hit the ground running and use the political capital that he gained from the 2024 campaign, he's starting to realize that he doesn't have outright loyalty, which is another thing I prognosticated in 2024. I said that most of the cabinet and most of the people that he appoints, once they attain power, they're going to do things on their own. And the only ones that aren't are the village idiots like Pete Hegseth, and, these other folks that are clearly way above their head and way above their pay grade for the job, but they'll do whatever Trump says as long as Trump backs them up and keeps them in that position of power. And the reason I'm saying there's cracks in Trump's wall of power is because of the Elon Musk Navarro spat. All right? The Elon Musk Navarro spat. By the way, Kash Patel. What the fuck happened to Kash Patel? Remember that guy that was supposed to come in and clean house in the FBI? What the fuck has happened to Kash Patel? Remember, Kash Patel came in as the FBI, and then I think he fired the ATF director and then assumed being the head of the ATF. Well, take a look at this. Kash Patel removed as Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco Firearms and Explosives head, and it's because where the hell has he been? All right, from what I've heard, okay, let me tell you what I've heard. I heard that Kash Patel is scared shitless. You could see it in his face on the State of the Union when Trump introduced him in that speech, and he also looked scared shitless when he was testifying in front of the House and the Senate Intelligence Committees when he was trying to say, look, I have nothing to do with this signal shit. I don't have nothing to do with it. He's scared shitless. You want to know why? This idiot thought that because he became the FBI director, that he was just going to be able to just fucking gun-ho and control the FBI. Bullshit. All right? The FBI told him, look, you little cross-eyed bastard, you're going to do what you're told, all right? And if you don't do what you're told, we're going to fucking throw you down a flight of stairs and make it look like an accident or whatever the fuck they told him, all right? And that's why Kash Patel, he isn't going out investigating the Epstein files. That's why he isn't going out and trying to go after the fucking enemies of, I don't know, of Trump or whatever the fuck. As a matter of fact, did y'all hear that he promoted the guy that propagated the January 6th nonsense? Did y'all hear about that shit? Look that up. All right, that just happened. He just promoted the guy, the FBI agent that propagated this whole January 6th bullshit. So for you people that thought that Kash Patel was going to come in and clean up the FBI, you obviously don't understand the history of the FBI. You obviously don't understand it. So once again, I mean, another example of how cracks in Trump's power are happening because he can only have loyalists to a certain extent. Can only have loyalists to a certain extent. And by the way, because of all this erratic policy when it comes to the tariffs, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to everything, you're seeing some GOP now trying to push back. All right? They're fuming on the tariff pause because these guys were out there at these fucking town halls trying to sell it to their constituency that, hey, these tariffs are going to make America great. Hey, these tariffs are going to do this. Hey, these tariffs are going to do that. And lo and behold, he rug pulls all these folks, the Republicans that were out there trying to sell this shit by pausing the goddamn tariffs. And let me tell you, I think pausing this tariffs makes America look weak. It makes America look weak. It makes us indecisive. And I think the people, or I should say the countries that have now thrown reciprocal tariffs on us, I think they got us by the balls. Now, luckily, the EU, being the chicken shit people they are, they've decided to pause their retaliatory tariffs. But I don't think everybody else is, and I don't think they should. All right, I think that the way Trump went about this tariff thing was completely inappropriate. I think it made us look, once again, like the pariah of the world. It made no sense. All you art of the deal assholes, it made no sense. What would make sense is going right out the gate at China and saying, look, China's been unfair. They're not remember, they're not obliging a economic deal that was signed in January of 2020. Remember that deal? They're not obliging that. That's why Trump's pissed off about all this shit. They basically ignored the economic deal that they signed in 2020, and that's why Trump is going right at them. And I don't blame him. But why bring in all the other countries? Why take a piss on our allies? Why get people pissed off when there's no need to do so? It's unbelievable what Trump has done here. I mean, God forbid somebody hits us up. We have no allies that will back us up. If anything, I think people will help whoever's going to hit us up. Unbelievable. And look, I think that's why you're having a lot of opposition going back to this big, beautiful bill that they're trying to get passed in Congress. You're having a standoff between the Senate and the House. The Senate is trying to assert its dominance over the House, and it's a power struggle. All right? Because the Senate doesn't really want to go too gung-ho like the House wants in its bill. So let's see if these idiots in Congress, I mean, this is a Republican-dominated government here, let's see if these fucking idiots can come to some kind of compromise to pass something. All right? I know that we need to pass something, but I mean, what they're proposing is in complete contradiction, like I said earlier, to what the messaging is when it comes to this Doge and balancing the budget and cutting government spending. You can't cut government spending. You can't claim that you want to balance the budget when in this big, beautiful bill, you want $4 to $5 trillion for this next fiscal year. $4 to $5 trillion. And then you want to put an unlimited debt ceiling, which means that the president wants the debt to continue to go up and they don't even have to want to vote on it. They just, whatever the bill is, that's all there is to it. So, oh my God, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And all you people that are like, oh my God, I can't believe Ghost is saying this, just wait until you're fucking laid off. Just wait until, probably most of you that are saying that probably don't even fucking, you probably don't even have your own place. You're probably living off your fucking dickless parents. Wait till they're foreclosed on. All right, wait till they get their car repossessed. Because it seems as if many of you idiots are going to have to learn by example. All right? I'm not kidding. You people are going to have to learn by example. Anyway, speaking of Doge, since I was just talking about this, did y'all hear that the Government Accounting Office is going to finally audit Doge? All right, they're going to finally audit Doge here, and I think this is big trouble for Elon Musk. All right, and look, this is the scary part about this. Even though I'm in opposition to what the hell's going on when it comes to the Trump administration and that sort of thing, what is the opposition? I mean, what do you have? You got the shitty Democrats. And let me tell you what's going to happen. The Democrats are going to win the midterm election. They're going to win because people are completely in opposition to what the hell's going on. And Trump knows this. That's why he's trying to move rapidly fast with all this bullshit. And the problem with the Democrats winning the midterm is that once they win the presidency again, because Trump set this authoritarian-like precedent, they're going to go and run with it like a fucking communist. So America right now is fucked. Everything that you know, the America that you know is completely gone. And you're going to all feel it here in the next couple of months. You're all going to feel it. And as I stated, when you're suffering, I want you to think of me. All right? When you're suffering, I want you to think of me. So let's see what the Government Accountability Office finds when it comes to Doge. And look, nothing's going to happen to Elon Musk. Elon Musk could easily just jump ship to China. As a matter of fact, he's more admired in China than he is in America. So he could basically just jump ship to China. The people that are going to be held accountable for all this Doge shit are these stupid young people that did what Elon Musk said. And that's why all these Doge people are lawyering up, because they know that if the Democrats take power, they're going to throw the absolute legal book at all these people. And Trump doesn't care. All right, Trump's a 78-year-old fucking prostate infection. I mean, dude, he's lucky that he's even, dealing with cognitive reasoning. He's lucky he's able to move around like he does. He's a 78-year-old man. He's going to be 79 in June. He doesn't care what he does to this country. I mean, he's at the end of his fucking life. He doesn't give a shit. And that's what makes this whole thing so dangerous. That's what makes this whole thing so dangerous, man. I mean, people think that he's lost his mind, legitimately. But, I mean, who knows? All right, who the fuck knows? I mean, it seems like as long as he comes out and says a few words and has the hair, and, I mean, people are like, yay, Maga. So I don't know what to tell you, dude. It is what it is. I can only tell the young people this. If you are not happy with what's going on here, I challenge you to go and participate in your party politics. And how do you do that? Well, how do you participate in your party politics is by simply going down to your precinct headquarters. And if you happen to live in a rural area, you're going to have to go to your nearest city where they have your party headquarters. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. And when you go there, ask them that you want to volunteer. What can you do to volunteer? And by going and doing that, that's when you can start going to these events. Because there's all kinds of Democrat and Republican events at every city and every state. And that's when you can get into these things for free because you participated in donating your time in order to participate in the party politics. And let me tell you from personal experience, all right, I am very big in the Texas Republican Party. As I mentioned several shows ago, the whole reason why we have bills like the anti-anime bill, we're banning anime, we're going to ban furries. We've already banned drag queen shows. They're 21 and up. The whole reason why we did this is because people like myself would go and participate. I've done a lot of work for the Texas GOP. I've organized events. I've worked their phones. I've shook hands with every major politician in Texas. And when I'm at these events, I make my views known. I go up to these folks that are influenced or people within the party themselves, and we discuss these issues. And one of the issues that I've discussed many years is the fact that we have man children that don't want to grow up and that are influenced by this imported Japanese cartoon called anime. And that anime is forcing these children to, or I hate to say adults now, to be effeminate losers, to be failure to launch nobodies, and something needs to be done about it. And I talked about it for years in these social circles, as well as the drag shows. You all know I was never a fan of drag shows. And the reason is because it's a celebration of nothingness. It's a bunch of ugly men that are dressing up as, I don't know, fucking clown freak shows in order to lip sync to other people's music. And it's a celebration of nothingness. So that's why you got to be over 21 to get into a fucking drag show now in Texas. All right? We made porn illegal in Texas. These are all issues that yours truly has been going and talking about at these Republican get-togethers for fucking 20 years. For 20 fucking years. And guess what? One of these folks that were going to these events and that heard these conversations decided, hey, I'm going to write a bill. I think that I've heard about this anime problem at these Republican events. I heard about these drag queen shows at these Republican events. I heard about this pornography problem at these damned events. And that's why Texas is leading the way when it comes to conservative values. And that's why, even though I'm in opposition to what Trump is doing, I am still a proud Republican from Texas, a Texas Republican. And because we and the Texas Republicans make sure that once we maintain power, once we get power, we assert our values in the system. And that's exactly what's going on here in this country. That's what's going on in this state, I meant to say, in this state. And by God, I mean, I like to think that I had something to do with that. I mean, I'm not saying that I had a direct, like I told somebody, hey, we got to do that. It's not how it works. That's not how it works. How it works is that you have these conversations at these events. And look, I've had these conversations for 20-something years. And until somebody finally at one of these events obtained power and was saying, you know what, we're gonna make a bill because of this. So that's what I'm challenging all of you to do, all right? Because the power is in the party system. The power is in the party system. Always remember that. And if you become a bigwig in the party, then you can primary out these motherfucking people that are politicians. The power is in the party system. If you get big and known in the party, then you have more power than a damn politician. And Devious Dave, Ghost, you're very big everywhere. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Bevden, as your fellow 210, why don't you bring real issues up to people, your buddy, not just anime? Well, listen, we've done a lot of shit here in Texas. I mean, we made porn illegal. You can't have an abortion after 6 weeks in Texas. You can't have a drag show and invite people under the age of 21 in Texas. All right? You can't, we're about to make anime illegal in Texas. We're about to make furries illegal in Texas. And these are values, because if we don't have values, folks, we end up like LA or New York City, a fucking bunch of freak shows. And look at what's happening to both of those fucking states. They're fucking degenerates. They're losers. Most of the people that live in both those states, California and New York, are a bunch of ungrateful pieces of shit that think that things are accorded to them because their shitty states give it to them. All right, and Duke Orville's absolutely right. transgenders are next out here in Texas. All right, we're trying to make it illegal. I think we already did make it illegal to prevent any doctor in Texas from giving any child any puberty blockers or any sex therapy, any of that bullshit. All right, this is Texas, baby. That's the difference. That's why, even though Trump is doing this thing, and I'm not in agreement with it on a national scale, we're in Texas, the Texas Republicans, we're using his clout in order to make Texas great again. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, baby. And God bless the state of Texas. God bless the state of Texas, boy. Anyway, one more thing I want to get to before I move on to some international stuff. I think this is very interesting right here. Trump directs his DOJ to go after his political enemies. Are you fucking kidding me? Trump directs Justice Department to probe officials who opposed him in his first term. Seriously? I mean, come on, man. I mean, with all due respect, this kind of thing happens in the background. I mean, this is what happens in the background. You know that John F. Kennedy, after the 1960 election that he won against Richard Nixon, you know that John F. Kennedy set the IRS to audit Richard Nixon's mother as she was dying demented in a fucking nursing home. I mean, this is the kind of shit that's done. This is the first time that you have a president overtly coming out and doing this, which I think is a very dangerous precedent. Very dangerous precedent. All right? I mean, this shouldn't be done out in the open like this. I mean, we're turning into a banana republic. All right? Turning into an absolute banana republic. And I just don't understand how anybody could be okay with this. I mean, hey, did they go at him? Yeah, sure. That's why you should. I mean, Pam Bondi should already know, like, hey, look, I don't need to say it, right, Pam? Go after these motherfuckers. I mean, he doesn't have to come out and say it. And that's the bad part about Trump. I mean, he's just kind of putting everything out there in order to antagonize the American people. It's as if we are at the last stage of what Yuri Bezmenov described as complete demoralization going into a renormalization. And that's what's happening right here. So I don't know what to say about this. I mean, this is not what America used to be, but hey, I mean, I guess we're making America great again. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. Anyway, let's go on into some international news, and let's talk about China, since they are now on our radar. Now, China, after they retaliated out of the initial Trump tariffs, Trump got completely upset and said, you know what, China, fuck you, and basically raised the damn tariffs to 134% on China. And, of course, he backed out by pausing the other tariffs on everybody else. This is what he should have done to begin with. Once again, he did not have to go out and say that he wanted a blanket tariff the rest of the fucking world and piss off everybody and make America the international pariah. But this is what should have happened. I agree with Trump on this. What I don't agree with is fucking taking a piss on our allies, even though we're in a confrontational situation with China here. Now, after the retaliation by Trump by raising the tariffs on China to 134%, China has come out and said, no negotiations. All right? No negotiations. So China is vowing to fight to the end, believe it or not. And this is very typical of Asian cultures. They're a death before dishonor type people. So now, I mean, we could be pushing China to the edge because they were already floundering as far as their economy is concerned because of the tariffs that were asserted during the first Trump administration and that were doubled during the Biden administration. And now that you've got Trump putting an extra, whatever it is, 100%, 125%, that puts China in a very bad situation because they know they're already bleeding from the lack of consumption from America because of the old tariffs. Now, they're definitely not going to get as much of consumption with these tariffs. So who's going to buy all this crap? As I mentioned on the previous show, they've got a surplus of manufactured garbage. And there's not a market in the world that'll consume it at the level as United States consumption. So this is the idea around Trump, which I don't think, I don't disagree with, that you push China to a point where they either force themselves at the negotiating table or they're going to have to make a move. And in my opinion, if I were China, look, I'm not pro-China. I have always been against China. As a matter of fact, I was 100% for the previous administration's foreign policy because we had both China and Russia against the ropes. Now that we've got this weak stance with this current administration, now you've got China and Russia fucking flexing nuts and making us look like a bunch of fucking idiots. All right, but I completely agree that we should put the pressure on China in order for them to either come to the negotiating table or they're going to have to make a move. And that could mean Taiwan. That could mean a direct attack on the United States. This is the kind of shit that we did to Japan prior to the World War II, or us engaging in World War II. We did the same shit to Japan. As a matter of fact, Japan, we prevented them access to the Panama Canal. By the way, Pete Hegseth was out at the Panama Canal today saying, hey, all right, the U.S. will take back the Panama Canal from China. We're going to take back. Same shit we did to Japan. On top of which, we denied Japan oil sales. We denied Japan any of our products. And I think the last kicker was we froze Japan's assets in the United States. And once we did that, the Japanese were like, look, let's make a move. And what they did is that they wanted to invade China in order to obtain their natural resources to continue their imperialistic endeavor. But the only thing that was preventing them from doing so was the fact that the United States had an open door policy with China at the time, and that we would have aided in an invasion if Japan actually invaded China. So they made a calculated risk by hitting up Pearl Harbor, which is the naval fleet and the planes that could potentially be there to back up China if Japan invaded. So that was a strategic move by Japan in order for them to invade China, which unfortunately it didn't work out well for them, as you all know by now. But this is the same thing. This is why I'm bringing up us doing the same shit to Japan, to China, and that's why China's like, fuck you. Now, the thing about China is they're now realizing that the United States is not going to budge when it comes to negotiating with them. And also, they're taking into consideration that now that they're the world's pariah, they can use that to their propaganda advantage. And if you take a look on the April 9th Ghost Dot report, all right, China is actually using this as an opportunity to unite or call for the united front of the world against the United States. Now, this is something I prognosticated in 2024. I said that once we did these tariffs, if we do these tariffs, that we will be looked at as some kind of a belligerent, and that the world at some point, that will unite against the United States. And that's the narrative that China is trying to put forward to the world. What's the narrative? What's the word that they're using? If you go back to April 7th, bully. Bully. Beijing accuses the U.S. of bullying with tariffs. They've been using the term bully every time they've talked in opposition to the United States of America. And why is this important? Because they want that optic of America being a bullying belligerent to be unified throughout the international community. And that's why you've got China. That's why you've got China trying to go and make moves and reaching out to other nations. Take a look at this. China reaches out to others as Trump layers on tariffs. So China's working hard to take advantage of what the hell is happening when it comes to Trump and his policies here. And let me get to some of these buy me a coffees. Chris Johnson, as much as I do a bit of trolling at times, it's actually pathetic that people are unironically saying that they dodged the draft. I may be a troll, but I also like my country. Thank you, Chris Johnson. That's a good American right there. Because look, push comes to shove, if our country is threatened, what else do we have? We have to defend it. We have to defend our country. So cheers to Chris Johnson. I appreciate that, man. And we've got Count Binface, Boomer. Invasion of China was 1937, and that ends up with Singapore falling, Indochina falling, and Philippines falling. Also, when you hit them with embargoes, they couldn't continue the invasion of China. What are you talking? Well, you're missing out a key point in the fact that you had the Chinese communists under Mao Zedong flanking both the Chiang Kai-shek nationalists, which occupied China at the time, and the Japanese. That's how the communists took control of China. They flanked these pricks while they were engaging with each other. Anyway, let's not go into fucking history. That doesn't really matter. It's not like these pricks are going to give a shit anyway, they're Count Binface. But anyway, China is reaching out, and they are now trying to be the ambassador of goodwill, the country that gives aid now. All right? You know that our cutting of U.S. aid, it actually prevented money from going to this Myanmar earthquake, which was very devastating. I mean, what's the death toll? Like 6,000 people? Now, China saw that as an opportunity and sent in troops. They sent in supplies. They sent in everything, and they are now looked at as some humanitarian. They're doing the same thing in Africa. They're doing the same thing in South America. China is capitalizing on now trying to become the superpower that everybody in the world can rely on now. And what are we doing? I don't know what the fuck we're doing. I have no idea. But I'll tell you this, who's going to really get hurt when it comes to these tariffs? It's certainly not going to be Coca-Cola. It's certainly not going to be the tech bros. As a matter of fact, Tesla has a goddamn plant out there where they're rolling out cars manufactured in China. So what do these tariffs, who do they really burden? Who are they really going to hurt? They're going to hurt the small businesses, folks. They're going to hurt the small businesses. Take a look at this. U.S. small business owner said China tariffs endanger her company. I could lose my home. And that's what you people don't understand. Most of the folks that are small businesses, they get whatever their product is from China. Or if they created something, they manufacture that shit in China because that's where the means of production are. Either there, Vietnam, or Mexico. And you see, when you tariff China in this capacity, you're hitting the fucking small businesses more than you all Walmart, because Walmart, believe it or not, has a special deal with China. As a matter of fact, let's look that up for Christ's sake, because they've been talking about that for a minute here. China and Walmart, and Walmart has still been able to get some kind of special negotiation, all right, from China. All right? I mean, take a look at this. This was a week ago. Put the PC shot on. Walmart continues to push Chinese suppliers to cut prices. So, these Chinese fucking tariffs ain't going to fucking hurt Walmart. They're not going to hurt the big fuckers that own the means of production out there. They're going to affect the mom and pop shops, all right, that get these products from China or get their shit manufactured from China. And it's going to put these people out of business. And folks, small business supplies the majority of employment in this country. I know most of you don't understand that. I know most of you think that, mom and pop shops. Hey, small business is what employs the majority of the people in the private sector. And when we start seeing small businesses go under, that domino effect is going to be felt really fast. Really fast. So that's who really hurts, in this whole, this trade war with China. All right? Now, China, once again, is going to continue to reach out. I mean, Xi is taking this opportunity to potentially go to APEC, all right, which is in South Korea. Now, for all those that don't know, APEC, much like ASEAN, is one of these Asian Pacific Economic Corporation summits, one of these, regional summits that China doesn't really get invited to. But because China sees the opportunity And because Japan and South Korea have come to Beijing, and I reported on this on Ghost Report, they went to Beijing to have better economic cooperation. This is why China now has an opportunity to come in and swoon some of the Asian allies of the United States of America. I'm telling you, China is getting to work, and it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault. I mean, we're absent in the international stage. We're suffering from domestic upheaval. We're pivoting when it comes to our international economic policy. We don't know what the hell our foreign policy is. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic. So China is reaping the rewards here. And I think that, as I stated in 2024, at some point, China may make a move on us. And I said, if I was Xi, I would use this as an opportunity to maybe hit up Hawaii right now. And what would the world think if China hit up Hawaii? What would the world think? Most of the world wouldn't care. Especially right now that the United States is acting like a belligerent. And that would be the excuse by Xi Jinping to hit us up. The excuse would be, hey, you're being a belligerent. You're causing world instability. You're causing the harmony of the international community to be discorded. You're getting spanked. And what is America going to do? We're in no position right now. We're in no position to be confronting China at this point in time. We were an administration ago because we had our allies intact, and we had Russia against the ropes because we were supplying all that supplies to Ukraine. And, China didn't know whether it's coming or going. Now, look at this fucking... Look at how the tides have turned. Look at how the tides have fucking turned. Unbelievable. And you know what? Where's Russia involved in all this crap? All right? Well, Russia is just fucking sitting here stalling. All right, they're sitting here stalling. And it's almost, you always have to ask, are Trump's negotiator just enabling Putin? Because what Putin is doing is giving some fucking lip service to Trump because they know that Trump is an egomaniac, and as long as you give him something to give a soundbite to, that's all he cares about. Meanwhile, you've got an amassing of troops over there in the, I forgot what region it is. I think it's in the Kursk region, I believe. You've got him conscripting another 150,000 troops. 150,000 troops while this supposed negotiation is going on. All right, I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. And on top of which, guess what? Now that we're kind of butting heads with China, all of a sudden, Chinese troops are in the damn theater of combat in Ukraine. Take a look at this. Russia recruited dozens of Chinese troops via TikTok, according to Zelensky. And I know China's come out and they're trying to say, cut it with the irresponsible rhetoric to Zelensky in relation of naming China involved in this Ukraine theater of combat. But Zelensky, now understanding how much optics are important, it took him fucking years to figure that out. He tweeted out the interrogation of these Chinese, these Chinese citizens that are out there in the theater of combat. And I'm going to let you take a look at it right here. Once again, put the PC shot on. This is on Twitter. The first two captured Chinese citizens. Today, investigators from the Security Service of Ukraine spoke with them. We are working to establish all the facts regarding the involvement of these and other Chinese citizens being a part of the Russian occupation army. Ukraine intelligence is also working on this matter. As of now, we have precise data of over 150 Chinese citizens who are involved in the war against Ukraine by Russia. We know that the actual number is higher. Ukraine believes that such blatant involvement of Chinese citizens in hostilities on the territory of Ukraine during the war of aggression is a deliberate step towards the expansion of the war, and is yet another indication that Moscow simply needs to drag out the fighting. All right? Russia doesn't care who dies in this insane war. They only need war to continue. We all need all partners, all fair-minded participants in international relations to deprive Russia of the ability to continue the war including through the use of people like these. Now, let me go ahead and blow this up here so everybody can get a good look that we now have China involved in the theater of combat in Ukraine, and I think that's a big move by China. All right, here, play this. Here, put this right here. Play it here. Here it is. All right, hold on. There are the Chinese credentials. All right, there's these the two Chinese in question. Here's the interrogation. They show subtitles. They show subtitles here.
Мене звати Джан Рембо. Я громадянин Китаю з провінції Цзянсі. Зараз я перебуваю в полоні в Україні.
Чи брали ви участь в безпосередньо бойових діях проти військових ЗСУ?
有没有参加战斗行为对于乌克兰军人？
这是我第一次出任务，也是当时就是我第一次经历战斗。我没有，我自始至终都没有开过一个枪。
Це був мій перший вихід, перше бойове завдання. До цього я не брав участь у бойових завданнях, і до того, як я потрапив туди, я ніколи не тримав зброю в руках.
А яка у вас була зброя?
Я шматяв.
用的 AK-74。
АК-74.
Хто з вами був разом, скільки у вас людей було?
На шляху не кончай зайти,有几个人。
我们是2个人。
В той момент нас було двоє.
Хто це був?
是谁？
是一个俄罗斯人。
Росіяни.
我叫王。
Here's the second one here.
Мене звати Ван Гуандзюн. Я
Man, it looks like fucking Genghis Khan's retarded kid.
哪个省的？
中国河南省。
Джанчжоу. Я з провінції Хенань, місто Джанчжоу, мені 34 роки, і я зараз знаходжусь в Україні в полоні.
В якому складі вони здавали?
你们原来有小队有5个人，对吗？2个俄罗斯人，3个中国人，对吗？俄罗斯人队小队长死了，对吗？
他是我刚才讲你可能没听明白是我们不是散了，走散了我们只有我和边女走在了一起，另外3个人有2个中国人1个外国人，他们去到了不知道什么地方，我们又遇到了另外2个第10队的，我们是4队，他们
This one's a little more talkative.
我们在半路的荒野中遇到了。
那之后你是一个中国人，还有
3个。
I know, look at his tiny hands.
就临时组的，然后就不知道什么情况就开始。
这个3个俄罗斯人其中有没有你的小队的人？小队
就边女，就他带着我投降的。
其他的中国人他们都散了。
我也不知道是。
Why is he squinting his eyes?
Вони здавались втрьох. Вони здавались втрьох. Це його замкомандира, який Пень чи якось так. Інші росіяни, вони його знайшли десь по дорозі, бо всі розбігалися хаотично. Ще 2 китайців вони загубили десь.
А як ви кажете, що українці допомогли, врятували вам життя, що ви маєте на увазі?
你说乌克兰人救了你的，救了你，怎么救了？
就是俄罗斯往那个地堡里面投催泪瓦斯。
赌城？
催泪瓦斯。然后
What the hell?
就是滑雪还是什么？
烟雾很
Cream of some young guy.
很窒息的烟雾。然后我不知道如何躲避，我就傻傻的待在那里。然后我感觉我已经
All right, we
死
get
窒
it.
息了。
Shut. Blindfold this asshole with dental floss and shut up. All right. Anyway, once again, showing that the Chinese are in the theater of combat in Ukraine. So that's what's going on in Russia. You got Vladimir Putin being Joseph Stalin, by Stalin the goddamn peace agreement here. You've got Russia supposedly recruiting Chinese troops via TikTok, yet we're still continuing on with these negotiations. Now, the United States did come out and warn Russia against, quote, bad faith negotiations, which I don't know how much longer you're going to have to warn these guys. I mean, these guys are still at war. There's no ceasefire. Are we still talking? Are we still doing negotiations? Yes, we are, folks. As a matter of fact, U.S. and Russia are holding private meetings in Istanbul, Turkey, as we speak. Now, what is going to yield from that? I have no idea. I don't think anything's going to be yielded from that. But we are continuing talking with these people, and I think that this foreign policy is horrible. I think this is a horrible foreign policy, and I can't really explain what sense this makes at all. And you're speaking to somebody who was trained in this shit.
They're eating the cats.
All right, so I don't get it. And trolling the interwebs, Ghost, that's clearly one of those Mongolian Russians. They had Chinese credentials. What are you talking about? And fuck off, old man Frank, you piece of trash. And we got Cheers Drunkler. Hey, Ghost, good news. My son just learned his ABCs. But if TCR is in the background, he just says Z, 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 Z. Yeah, well, thanks a lot, you fucking moron, all right? Anyway, are we going to still play this footsies with the Russians? Are we still going to do this? Jesus Christ. Anyway, let's continue on and let's talk a little bit about Europe. All right. Now, of course, because Trump had his hand on the chicken switch when it came to these tariffs, EU, being the monkey see, monkey do fucking people they are, they decided to pause their retaliation for 90 days like Trump. And I don't know if we're going to be able to resolve these issues with, Europe, but we shall see. At least I'm not going to pay that much for scotch, at least for the next 90 days, for Christ's sake. Thank God. All right, but let's see what is culminated when it comes to these 90-day pause tariffs and whether or not we're going to come up to a deal with the EU. All right, let's see what happens there. The Germany just got their new government. All right, believe it or not, they just got their new government, and they are now betting big on boosting the economy. The Europeans are now very apprehensive on what the hell Trump has done. So now you've got France, you've got Germany, you've got most of the EU trying to spend at least $1 trillion or more in order to remodernize and rearm themselves with military production. All right, so this is where we're at right now. You've got a spendthrift. I mean, if you want to invest in anything, I think, and if you haven't done so already, I mean, you might want to entertain this, defense stocks in Europe. Because the Europeans, they're going to rearm, but they're not going to give the $1 trillion that they're going to spend in contracts to American companies. They're going to give it to their European-based manufacturers, and that means that if they're going to spend, profits for those companies. So if there's nothing to invest, and let's hope we can still invest in foreign markets, but if there's nothing to invest in America, foreign markets is something you may want to entertain because the Europeans are going to be spending. They're going to be spending. All right. And speaking of which, UK, France got together today, and they are starting to move unilaterally on their own Ukraine decision. And UK, France seem to be very, very adamant about putting their own security force in Ukraine. All right, which obviously Putin does not want. All right, Putin has been very against, which goes against what Trump, I believe, is trying to do with Putin, which I don't really disagree with. I actually agree that, there needs to be some opposition in Europe against Russia. I know that the president, I know Trump, I don't know, is a cock holster for Putin. I don't know what it is. I don't get it. But Russia cannot be trusted. I mean, the George Bush Jr. trusted him, and in 2006, they invaded Georgia. Luckily, George Bush Jr. was such a nutcase that the fucking Russians pulled back. In 2009, they tried to reset. I'm talking Hillary Rodham Clinton and Barack Obama. They tried to reset relations with Russia, and that resulted in them invading and annexing Crimea. And when Trump was in power, it was a holding pattern for Putin in order for him to invade Ukraine. So how many times are we going to continue to negotiate with this stupid vodka-drinking, cockeyed, throwback in evolution piece of shit? So I don't blame France and UK thumbing their nose at Trump and talking about putting a damn security force in Ukraine. That'll definitely piss the shit out of Putin. And then what? Putin's going to be forced to expand the damn theater of combat. So that's where we're at there. And Devious Dave, 10 days from now, Trump will legalize weed. That's another thing. Fell for it again award. I don't think he's going to do that. And Marshall Burns, the Europeans are going to rearm to protect all those Muslims and gypsies and Africans. Jesus Christ. All right. Anyway, let's talk about Turkey since they were trying to gain EU membership. They're definitely a member of NATO. But the reason Turkey is on the agenda, folks, is because this man right here, Erdogan, has arrested a popular opposition leader for no fucking reason. And the whole reason that he's doing it is in order to preserve his tenure in power. And that's why you have this article here, Erdogan's Last Great Gamble. Because there's been nonstop protest ever since he has decided to jail his opposition. And this unpopularity cannot go unwavered anymore. He's been able to weather the storm through this type of chaos or crisis before. I mean, lest we forget, if you guys were listening to me in 2016, while I was doing the True Capitalist radio show, Erdogan staged a coup on himself. He staged a coup on himself in order to expose his enemies, in order to legitimize purging them. Now, it's 2025, though 2016 was some time ago. He's trying to do the same thing, but trying to justify the jailing of his opposition, and the people of Turkey aren't having it. Now, Erdogan is a shrewd politician. He is a shrewd leader. And I've been keeping my eye on this because I am curious whether or not he's going to be able to survive this crisis. He barely got reelected the last election. I don't know if y'all remember that. But let's see if he survives this crisis. Erdogan's last great gamble. Let's see if he's going to survive it, all right? Now, once again, let's take a little bit about Asia and that area. I did talk about how Japan dumping U.S. bonds forced Trump's tariff pivot. Also, Japan and NATO agreed to ramp up defenses. So Japan is not messing around. They know that China is a belligerent, and now that they're getting more and more aggressive in the region, Japan knows that it can't just sit there with its little prick in its hand. It's got to go and make moves. And as you can see, here you are. They're with NATO, promising to ramp up defense industry cooperation. So Japan making moves. All right. By the way, did y'all hear yesterday South Korea fired a warning shot after North Korean troops attempted to cross the border? All right. So you've got North Korea getting uppity, and it's because of the destabilization that's happening, the uncertainty that's happening because of Trump's tariff war. So now you've got North Korea thinking that it could possibly try to incur on some of South Korea's geography, and maybe Trump is not going to do a goddamn thing about it. So it's getting everything's getting on edge, all right? Everything is on edge, for Christ's sake, all right? Some more news out of Asia. Did you hear that Thailand authorities have actually arrested a U.S. citizen for criticizing the monarchy? There he is, by the way. Paul Chambers, a lecturer at the Nusaran University, was first summoned by police last week to hear charges against him, including a computer crime for simply insulting the monarchy. Now, he has since been out on bail. Who knows what the sentencing is for this? And the State Department, according to the State Department, is monitoring this closely. So I don't know if this is something that has to do with the tariffs. I don't know what this has to do with, but Thailand has been getting very uppity as of late. They have I think a prime minister that is a woman who last month or 2 months ago went to visit China and boasted how she has, quote, China blood in her veins. So we may be seeing Thailand starting to pivot towards China. Now, one people that aren't going to pivot towards China is Vietnam. Now, unfortunately, Vietnam got one of the worst of the tariffs by Trump. I believe it was 47% on Vietnam. And, I mean, the reason that was going to be lifted because Nike has 90% of their fucking operations in Vietnam. All right, take a look at this. Nike's 30-year gamble on Vietnam is rattled by Trump tariffs. And I also want to remind everybody that 95% of shoes are imported to the United States. So for all you entrepreneurs out there, if you can accommodate some kind of shoe niche, you could be able to be very successful in America, in my opinion. But once again, Vietnam rattled, Nike rattled, but believe it or not, Vietnam has been the first one to come and wanting to have a deal with Trump. And right now, believe it or not, today, Vietnam and U.S. are beginning trade talks. So anybody who is wondering whether or not we're going to see a spike in shoes, and by the way, a lot of textiles, a lot of clothing coming out of Vietnam, and that may not be affected. So some positivity, all right? We may get a deal with Viet fucking Nam, which will hopefully curb some of the prices that could be headed towards the shoes and textiles and that sort of thing. So some decent news, all right? Now, speaking of deals, did you hear about this? Did you hear that U.S. is seeking a mineral deal with Pakistan? Are you fucking serious? Now, for all those that have been listening to me, you all know that I've been monitoring Pakistan because there's massive investment by the Chinese in Pakistan. And unfortunately, there's a lot of terrorism, especially in the Balochistan region of Pakistan, against China because of their development of the Belt Road Initiative and the Pakistan-Chinese Economic Corridor. So I've been monitoring this because the Balochistanis, the Tariqi Taliban, which is the Taliban in Pakistan, the Imran Khan separatists, which was the old prime minister, which is jailed. You've also got Al-Qaeda in this area. All these groups I just mentioned. Oh, let's not forget the Pashtuns as well. All these groups are hitting up Pakistan. And China is kind of wearing their patience thin on Pakistan getting some kind of grip on the terrorism that's happening in their country because it's affecting the Chinese engineers and the Chinese folks that are out there that are developing the Gwadar airport and the Gwadar port system and all these infrastructure that China is paying for that they're putting into Pakistan. Now, the fact that we're going in wanting to invest in a Pakistan mineral deal suggests that we are stepping on the nuts of China here. We are stepping on the nuts of China. Now, what does that entail? You see, whenever I hear a mineral deal, does that mean that we're going to put U.S. troops in Pakistan? I mean, I don't like that. I don't even like the sound of that. But what would the deal be? I mean, it would have to be us helping them with their security. I mean, what other deal can they make? They certainly don't have money. I mean, their credit is limited. I mean, they've got IMF fucking loan out. They got Chinese loan out. They got a lot of loans out. So what are they going to do? I mean, we have to offer them security. Or, believe it or not, folks, and look, I'll give Trump the win on this one. Let's turn from Pakistan to Afghanistan. Now, the reason I want to talk about Afghanistan, folks, is because recently the Taliban, and here it is right here, hands over Bagram Air Base to the United States of America. All right? Remember, we left Pakistan.
They're eating the
It was a
cats.
big deal. It was a horrible situation. And Trump has kind of played hardball with the Taliban. He's like, hey, we want the equipment back. We want our base back, that sort of thing. And look at the Taliban handing over Bagram Air Base back to the United States. All right. So that means, folks, that we're going to operate. We're going to bring back our military in this region. And it's obvious that there's a deal made between the Taliban and the United States. Now, what deal is that? I have no idea. But once again, we were just talking about a deal or a potential mineral deal with Pakistan. And I said that the only thing that we could offer Pakistan, probably money, but security. And because the Taliban has handed over Bagram Air Base, we're going to be putting troops there, and this is where I believe we would be providing security for Pakistan if such a deal is for real. So, very, very interesting situation that we're having here when it comes to Trump trying to deal out here. And another thing that is interesting, I reported this, I think many days ago, that the Trump administration not only wants a deal with Pakistan for a mineral deal, but they also want a mineral deal from the Congo. All right, take a look at this. This is on Ghost Report April 3rd. U.S. Congo mineral deal for real? Take a look at this. All right. A U.S. Congo mineral deal, a defeat for communist China. So what are we going to offer the Congo? Because the Congo right now is in a fighting situation. The Congolese authorities are fighting off a Rwandan rebel force called M23. The M23 has been battling Congo for the past year and a half. Now, if this is for real, what are we going to offer the Congolese government? We have to offer them protection. Because remember, folks, we actually had some private forces of the United States go to Congo in an attempt to overthrow the current Democratic Republic Congo leader. And there's these three knuckleheads here. Remember these guys? These were the guys that attempted to overthrow the presidential palace in Congo, and they got captured by the Congolese military. Well, because there's a potential mineral deal in the works here, the DRC has commuted their death sentences on these three Americans. And from what I've read, the latest news on these guys is that the Congo are going to send them back to the United States, and the United States is going to hold them accountable in the American justice system. So there is dealing being made, all right? There is dealing being made when it comes to the Congo. Now, what the United States has to give the Congo is beyond me. What does the Congo have that the United States wants? Cobalt. There is the biggest deposit of cobalt in Congo, and that's what the United States wants. So there you go. All right. Anyway, let's continue on. So I've already been on here for a couple hours. Let me get to these last few stories, and then we're going to move out of here. By the way, could a Iran strike be as soon as this weekend? Huh? Take a look at this. U.S. to bomb Iran by this weekend? Take a look at this. U.S. could be bombing Iran by the weekend if Tehran doesn't fall in line. Now, folks, didn't I say this was going to happen like 2 years ago? Didn't I say after the October 7th attack by Palestine on Israel that the United States needed to use Israel's auto-determination, and we needed to use it in order for them to take their emphasis away from Gaza and point it towards Iran? And that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, my only apprehension about this is that now that we become the world's pariah, if we take on this military operation of Iran, we better be successful. We better be successful, and we better take out all of the Ayatollah and his henchmen very fast. We need to take control of the country within a month to 2 months. If we do that, all the bad shit that Trump is doing, all the bad shit that Trump's doing will be completely eliminated. People won't even think about it. The Europeans especially would wax their carrot because they like humanitarian military operations of this capacity. And I guarantee you, if Trump is successful, the damn Iranian people will be greeting us as liberators. And the United States would be, we would have a favorability look or a favorability optic in the international community. Although we're the world's pariah right now, and I don't know if, we're going to have a lot of backup here. All right? Now, with that being said, interesting thing that Trump said today. Trump said that if there is a bomb, they're going to bomb Iraq, Israel will be the leader. Take a look at this, huh? All you anti-Semitic MAGA people, this one's right up your ass crack. Take a look at this. Trump, Israel would be the leader of a strike in Iran. The prognosticator of prognosticator strikes again, baby, all right? The prognosticator of prognosticator strikes again. So for all you folks that are out there that are saying that, oh yeah, MAGA, we're making America great again, and you're an anti-Semitic piece of trash, well, I don't know what to tell you, all right? I don't know what to tell you. Now, with that being said, though, Netanyahu, he's not in a very good position. As I've stated, there's a lot of opposition to him in Israel. A lot of opposition to him in Israel, and we'll get to that in just a second. Let me get to some of these Buy Me a Coffees, and cheers to the folks that are hooking it up with Buy Me a Coffees, supporting the True Capitalist Radio Show, man. Cheers to all of you. We've got Menno Ray. We can offer the Congo our biggest, plummet, trashiest white women. They'll do anything for those pogs. That's fucking disgusting, you piece of trash. We got Gino X 1987. Hold on, let me get to this first one. He said, shut up, old man, nobody cares, get to Radio Graffiti. And then Gino X 1987 also said, hashtag elbows up with Canada from love. What the hell are you talking about? Elbows up? What are you leaning like a cholo or something? What the hell does that mean? And then we got Mark in the house. A relationship with China is more important than a relationship with a cockeyed, washed-up Russians. I hope this gets resolved peacefully. I do too, Mark. I do too, but we shall see, man. Very erratic shit going on here. All right? Anyway, was a Stalin USSR. My Discord got permabanned. I can't log in. I'll make a new one later. I don't know who the hell you are. We got Marshall Burnsy. Did you ever look at that Jewish woman? I'm not going to say that, you stupid moron. All right, folks. Anyway, as I was stating, Netanyahu having a lot of turbulence at home. The justice system over there in Israel has arrested his top aides. People are massively protesting everything from the corruption that Netanyahu has alleged, his usurping of the justice system, and the endless wars. All right? The Israelis are finally starting to get a little upset at the constant endless war. This is on Israeli TV. And a lot of the Israelis are wondering, when is it going to end? And as I stated on a previous show, he can't afford for this to end, just like Putin. All right? Netanyahu's whole power is based upon perpetual war because he has discord at his homeland. Remember, prior to the October 7th attacks, that weekend, you had 500,000 Israelis protesting against Netanyahu because he usurped the justice system in order to prevent him and his son from being investigated for corruption. Then the October 7th attack happened, and that accorded him enough political capital to do the wars that he has done in the past 2 years. And for the first year, okay, it worked to socially organize the Israeli people around this offensive. But now you've got a lot of Israelis with battle fatigue. They don't know the clear objective of what the hell's going on, and that's why you now have this being discussed on Israeli television. So I don't know what's going to happen, man. I mean, it is a very, very interesting times we're living in, all right? Very interesting times. At least the Australians, though, even though they're a bunch of, fucking throwbacks in evolution themselves, and even though we decided to give them the cold shoulder when it came to the tariffs, they're declining China's offer to join hands, to unify. So, hey, Aussies, thank you for slapping the damn hand of China when they tried to offer some, I don't know, Kung Pao chicken to you, all right? Cheers to the Australians, you kangaroo bangers, all right? Thank you for saying no to China. And on that note, let's just go ahead and end the show here. And let's talk a little bit about some totally useless news, okay, folks? We're at the totally useless news segment of the broadcast. And where you want to see the totally useless news segment is you go to Ghost.report and you go to the third column right here on the last block. This block right here will always have totally useless news. So let's go to the first one, all right? Dirty sock smelling fetish causes fungal infection. Take a look at this shit, all right? For all you sick foot fetish pieces of trash, this is right up your ass crack. Take a look at this. Man sniffs dirty socks daily, hospitalized with fungal lung infection. All right? This is why I always look at you idiots that have foot fetishes cross-eyed, for Christ's sake. It's a stinky, smelly athletics foot. I just don't get the foot fetish thing, dude. I just don't get it. All right? But hopefully this story can kind of at least hope you at least wash the stinky fucking foot, all right? All right, give me a break. Anyway, that's our first totally useless news segment, all right? Our second totally useless news segment, foster mom tried to trade child for a monkey. I'm not joking. Look at the winner. This is a winner here. Look at this broad. Cops investigating if Missouri foster mom traded a kid for a monkey to boost her exotic animal collection. Oh my God. What the fuck kind of world are we living in here? And look at this. Brenda Deutsch, who fostered more than 200 children over the years, has, as well as reported being a collector of exotic animals, was arrested over the weekend. So she was willing to trade one of these foster kids for a monkey. And, you know, I know meme magic. I get it. I get it. Shut up. Unbelievable. All right. Unfucking believable. I'm telling you, totally useless news, man. And by the way, did you see Cosplay Barbie, a.k.a. Kristi Noem, the Department of Homeland Security head? You know, she's always out here dressing up in, you know, cosplay outfits, pretending that she's out there in the field. Well, her latest cosplay has her pointing a barrel of a gun at an officer's head. Did you see this? Take a look at this. Kristi Noem ripped for photo op where she points the barrel of a gun at an officer's head. Look at this. I mean, you could tell this is photo op. All right? This looks so disingenuous. Look at how she is holding the firearm. She looks like she's afraid to hold it. And on top of which, you never point a barrel, no matter what, at anybody. At anybody. Unbelievable. And this is the head of the Department of Homeland Security, by the way. All right? Jesus Christ. Unfucking believable. Unbelievable. And this is what's fighting crime in Homeland right here. Never. All right. Yeah. Cosplay Barbie. Cosplay Barbie. All right? Here, let's do a couple of more here. Did y'all hear about this shit? The bassist of the band Weezer. The bassist of the band Weezer's wife was shot by police and booked for attempted murder. Can you believe this fucking shit? Unbelievable. An already bizarre story involving a crash on a Los Angeles freeway, a manhunt, the arrest of a man in his underwear, and a police shooting of an uninvolved woman has now taken even a more surreal twist. Julian Schreiner, 51, wife of the Weezer bassist Scott Schreiner, was the uninvolved woman shot by police and now faces charges of attempted murder. Unbelievable. And this all stemmed from some kind of a hit and run. And, I mean, for Christ's sake, dude. I mean, say it ain't so. Unreal. Unreal, dude. I mean, it's the bassist from Weezer. All right, here's another one. A right-wing pastor claims airport scanners.
They're eating the cats.
Claims airport scanners turn people gay. Did you hear about this? The gay beam machine right-wing pastor makes startling claim about airport scanners. So there it is. If it isn't the plastic mimickers that are turning the freaking frogs gay, it's now the gay bee machine of airport scanners turning people homosexual. And by looking at this guy, are you sure this isn't some latent thing? I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, what's with the 70s porn mustache and, the disgusting, Chris Hansen look? Never mind. All right, never mind. Anyway, once again, if you're going to go through an airport scanner, hold your nuts or something. I don't fucking know. All right, I have no idea. All right, now take a look at this one. Woman with the world's biggest mouth gape. All right, I'm not kidding. Woman with the world's biggest mouth gape. Take a look at this. All right, I'm not even joking around. Take a look at this. Take a look at this gape.
I kind
Take a
of
look at
always
it.
known that I had a very tall
my
mouth.
God.
As a little kid, I had 7 siblings.
Good
and as
God.
kids do, we used to put stuff in our mouths all the time.
Are you
It
kidding
always confused
me?
When people were like, "Oh, light bulbs are, don't put them in your mouth; they get stuck." But they never got stuck in my mouth.
Oh, my
That was
God.
an orange.
She's gonna put a whole fucking orange in that
And
suck
people
hole.
look at that and they think that's something that really exists. I wonder if I can do that.
A baseball? Oh, God. A tennis ball? A fucking Campbell's soup can? Oh, my God. Anyway, there you have it, folks. All right. Totally useless news, which always ends the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before I go, I think I got 1 or 2 buy me a coffees here. I know people are still, whoa, that was a big mouth gape. Yeah, no shit. Gino X 1987, and he said, I used to be friends with someone I immediately cut ties with after he had a shit fit one day and pointed his rifle at me. Oh, shit, dude, that sucks. You shouldn't even pretend to do that shit. You know what I mean? And Stalin USSR, she's built for BBC. Yeah, thanks a lot. And Cornbread Man, hey there, what do I need to do? Send me a buy me a coffee, Cornbread Man, a message to buy me a coffee. Like, or I'll send one to you. Or if you know somebody that's in the IC or in the Thunderdome, let me know what your Discord name is, and I'll invite you into the inner circle. All right, Cornbread Man? Cheers to you, and I hope to see you in there soon enough, man. Cheers to Cornbread Man. Newest member of the inner circle, by the way. All right, folks. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. I appreciate everybody for tuning and listening in. We're listening. This is very hard times. I know that, I know some people complain that, is there any good news, Ghost? I'm sorry, man. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth, man. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to be in the True Capitalist Radio member chat here in the next 20 minutes. Put the PC shot on. For all those that want to support the show, want to kick back with us, I'm going to be drinking later on. If you want to come kick it with me, drink with me, discuss how you can bypass all this economic uncertainty, how you can play the current system, talk about serious issues. It's a serious room. All you got to do is go to buymeacoffee.com/GhostPolitics and go right here to become a member. All right, go right here to become a member. Cheers to all the folks that are members, man. Great room. Very serious. Cheers to everybody in there. All right, and also, if you want to be a member of the Inner Circle, there it is right there. It describes how you become a member of the Inner Circle, a member of the Thunderdome, that sort of thing. So anyway, without any further ado, I do want to say cheers to everybody out there who is listening to the broadcast, and cheers to everybody out there who appreciates True Capitalist Radio. I am going to be doing a ghost show, which is a polar opposite of this show, which is pretty much internet tomfoolery. I'm going to be doing it tomorrow for Baller Friday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I do Ghost Show every Tuesday and Friday. Every Tuesday and Friday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I do True Capitalist Radio Mondays around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if I have enough energy and if there's enough news, I will also do it on Thursday, which is today, 5 p.m., 6 p.m.-ish Central Standard Time. All right, man? Anyway, I appreciate everybody who is listening to the broadcast. And if you haven't done so, please add to your bookmarks and add to your favorites, ghost.report. All right? It'll give you the world on one web page. All right? It's updated daily. And, of course, for all you crypto bros out there, there's a crypto wishing well if you appreciate the work that yours truly is doing, all right? So anyway, I'm going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room here in about 20 to 25 minutes. I hope to see you all in there. Until next time, I'm out of here. And once again, the Ghost Show tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, baby. I'm out of here.